Hello! I hope that you're having a good summer. The weather has been wonderful recently, so I hope that you've had plenty of opportunities to go out and play with your friends. It's been really good to have you with me as we've told lots of stories over the last few months. So thank you for tuning in every week. Today's story will be the last one for a few weeks, but I will be back with another story once you are back at school after the summer holidays. Over the last few weeks, I have been telling you some very well-known Bible stories, and I have another well-known and well-loved Bible story for you today. It's a story called The Good Samaritan. And this is a story that Jesus tells us to teach us to love our neighbours as we love ourselves, to take care of each other. Even though we might not agree about things, we still have to take care of each other. And that's especially true if we find someone or we know someone that is in need of our help. So here's the story of the Good Samaritan. Now, in the time of Jesus, the Jewish people and the Samaritans did not get along with each other. In fact, they were sworn enemies. One day a Jewish man was travelling from Jerusalem to Jericho. It was a lonely road and dangerous for travellers. Robbers would often hide in the rocks beside the road, waiting to pounce on travellers. So the man hurried along, glancing fearfully around as he went. Then suddenly a band of robbers and thieves jumped out. They knocked him to the ground and stole all of his money, and left him there on the road, all alone and hurting. For a long time the poor man lay there on the road in the hot sun, hoping desperately that someone would come and help him. At last he heard footsteps approaching. He raised his head just a little to see who it was. It was a priest. Surely he would help. But no, the poor injured man could hardly believe it. The priest just walked on by on the other side of the road and didn't stop to help him. The man's head throbbed more than ever, and he longed for a drink of water as he lay there in the hot sun. Just as his eyes closed, he heard more footsteps. A man that worked in the temple was coming. Surely someone that served God would help him. He was coming over, bending down, looking at him. But then he straightened up and walked on. The injured man groaned in despair. Would no one come to help him? Just then he heard more footsteps and the clip-clop of a donkey's hoofs. Once more the poor man lifted his head to see who was coming, and then sank to the ground with a groan. It was a Samaritan. He wouldn't help him. Their people had been enemies for years. The poor man closed his eyes. All hope was gone. But then the footsteps slowed. The donkey's clip clopped to a halt. The injured man felt gentle hands helping him, bathing his wounds with oil to soothe them and bandaging them. The Samaritan offered him a drink of cold water, holding it to his lips and supporting his head. Then the Samaritan helped the injured man onto the donkey, and the donkey carefully clip-clopped along until they came at last to an inn. "We'll rest here for the night," said the Samaritan to the injured man. He led the man inside and took care of him, attending to his wounds once more and bringing him something to eat and drink. But the poor man was still not well enough to travel. The Samaritan said to him, "You must stay here until you're well enough to continue your journey." The Samaritan said to the innkeeper, "Here is some money. Please take care of the injured man, and if the bill is more than this, then I will pay you the rest when I come back this way." So who do you think was a neighbour to the man who was robbed and beaten? The priest? No, he hurried by on the other side. The temple worker? No, he looked like he was going to help, but then he changed his mind and crossed to the other side of the road too. But the Samaritan, was the one who was kind and helped the injured man. It was the Samaritan who was the one who was a good neighbour to him. I hope you enjoyed that story. That's the kind of story that we call a parable, and that's really a story which is very simple and it's very easy to understand, but there's an important lesson in that story. And the lesson for us today is that we should take care of each other. We should be good neighbours to one another. As I said, even if we don't agree about things, we should still take care and help each other. Until next time, stay safe. God bless.